Welcome back to the channel, guys. Let's get straight into today's story. New official data has just dropped and it's really bad news for Britain. According to the Office for National Statistics, the UK economy contracted by 0.1% in October, marking another dip in growth and extending the worrying trend we've seen all year. That comes on top of the 0.1% decline in September and zero growth in August, meaning the economy hasn't really expanded in months. This weak economic performance is a clear indicator that things are going south, and it's happening right under the watch of Chancellor Rachel Reeves and Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Let's break this down because it's not just about numbers. It affects your job prospects, your wallet, your cost of living and the future of this country. The GDP contraction, even a small one, reflects weakening activity across key parts of the economy, services and construction, and even manufacturing are all struggling. Analysts say this sputtering growth is partly because business and consumer confidence has collapsed as we head into a tax-raising budget, with uncertainty making firms reluctant to invest or hire. Now, some defend the government point to technical forecasting, suggesting the economy might grow modestly over a full year or next year. And yes, certain bodies like the CBI have slightly lifted their 2025 and 2026 growth estimates, thanks to a temporary spending boost. But here's the real story. Growth that barely exists isn't growth people can feel. When families, workers and businesses face stagnant wages, high cost of living and rising taxes, a headline slight GDP increase somewhere down the line isn't going to make a difference at the checkout or in your bank account. And let's be honest, this situation didn't happen in a vacuum. The Starmer-Reeves government's tax-raising budget, with around 26 billion in additional taxes, has shaken confidence across the private sector. Businesses don't invest when there's uncertainty about tax bills, workers don't see wage growth translating into more spending, and consumers tighten their belt, which then feeds back into a slower spending and a lower output. This is exactly what recent GDP data is showing. What's more, the economy shrinking in October wasn't expected. Most economists forecast at least flat growth. Instead, it's dropped again. That weak performance is now pushing markets and analysts to expect an interest rate cut from the Bank of England, a tool usually reserved for slowing economies, precisely because the data points to stagnation and recession risk. This has a very real consequence for ordinary people. Slow or negative growth means less money circulating in the economy, rising unemployment risk and less tax revenue, which ironically makes governments think they need even more tax increases to plug budget gaps. It's a vicious self-defeating loop that punishes everyday Brits, while those in power carry on with more borrowing, more intervention and even more uncertainty. Ordinary workers and families don't feel 0.1% GDP growth or contraction. They feel empty shelves, jobs insecurity, failed pay rises and higher costs for everything from houses to energy. This is exactly the kind of economic decline that erodes faith in government, fuels disillusionment and mainstream parties, and gives rise to political alternative that actually promises to shake things up instead of presiding over decline. And that's the political angle here. While the public sees week in, week out, weak data, and a government scrambling to spin it as a normal or temporary, people will naturally start asking whether Labour really understands how to grow the economy. Because right now, it feels like a patchwork of tax grabs, spending promises and half-baked forecasts, none of which are translating into real-world growth. In short, just a few days after Rachel Reeves' big tax-raising budget, the economy had stumbled again. Britain hasn't grown for months, negative figures keep rolling in and confidence is plummeting. This isn't a sign of economic health, it's a sign of deep trouble. You'd think with all the talent in government, we'd see robust growth, strong investment and a boom in jobs and business. Instead, we're watching contraction, caution and population feeling squeezed from all sides. So, for anyone watching this, if you care about your job, your family's future and the long-term prosperity of this country, these figures should worry you, because the economy isn't just numbers on a page, it's jobs, opportunity and your standard of living, and right now it's shrinking. Thanks for watching, guys. If you want more honest political commentary and don't want to miss what's really happening behind the headlines, hit subscribe now and drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you think.